Alright, I think we're live. Cool, cool, cool. We should be live now. Hello? Sorry, I had the wrong mic. Okay, hopefully you can still all hear me. Hopefully it sounds a bit better too with the mic. I didn't have it plugged in. I've been live streaming now for months, and yet I still don't really understand what I'm doing. But hopefully y'all can hear me all right. So just trickle on into the stream, and then we'll get started kind of as usual. But as the title says, we're going to be discussing GigaBash. We'll also be discussing some other things, some new Hiya toys, and then the new Godzilla vs. Gigan like gemstone project. So it'll be kind of a fun, chill live stream, just kind of discussing some news. Especially because we haven't really gotten any other like MonsterVerse news in a while, but there are other things that I didn't even really get a chance to touch on. So I thought it would be cool to go live and discuss it with you all. So yeah. So hopefully you're all doing well. I think I left a shirt on my bed. Oh well, whatever. But hopefully my background still looks nice. My figures over here. I've got Gamera right here. So if you didn't catch my review video that just came out, made a review of this Bandai Gamera figure. So you want to know what I think of it? Go watch that video. But he's right here with the rest of the gang. So yeah, maybe Gamera will come to GigaBash. Again, we'll talk all about that in just a moment. There have been some Gamera video games in the past. I never played them before, but there was a game, I think for PS1 or something, back in the day. Anyway. But hopefully I'm sounding alright. Hopefully my stream isn't crashing. It tends to kind of do that sometimes. So fingers crossed it won't do that this time. But yeah. But it's fun to get on stream, and also to do more of a news stream than than a kaiju universe one, just because sometimes it's fun to just talk about the news and directly with you all, and also on a live stream I guess it's just easier for me to like ramble on and just gather my thoughts than if I just did it in a video. Like here I can just kind of ramble and then talk to you guys directly, and yeah, I think that's kind of more fun in a way than just doing it like a normal video that I just upload later. But I think at this point we're ready to move on. So let's just get into it then, shall we? So let me get Alright, so yeah, before we get to that GigaBash stuff, subscribe to them if you haven't. Posted a video with some content, with some pictures and screenshots of the figure. So, and other people have also posted pictures of the figure, but I think Luminous had like the actual video with all these pictures. So, as we can see so far, it's a pretty nice figure. Ugh. YouTube is making me run an ad. Sorry. But yeah, it's pretty nice figure on another ad. Really, YouTube. So a lot of people are saying that, yeah, even they are saying it's better than SH Monster Arts. And from what I've seen, the figure is pretty good. I think it's better than NECA's figures, and it's a bit in the price range. I think it's like a bit more than a NECA figure, but still cheaper than an SH Monster Arts. But the figure does look pretty good. So yeah, I think that it's a pretty good looking figure, and now I don't know why it's not showing the video, but okay, we'll just leave it here. So I think it's a pretty good looking figure. I think that for what it's worth, you know, it's still better than the NECA figure and a lot cheaper than the SH Monster Arts again, which is, it looks better in my opinion than the SH Monster Arts figure. I will say there's like a bit of a, not a hinge or a socket or something in the mouth that's visible. And I don't think that looks really good. I think that that's a bit distracting. I don't know if that would be the best word, but you know, they got some cool promo art. Oh yeah, the other thing is a statue. So many ads. I don't know why YouTube is just running ads like crazy today. So the other one is like a statue. Yeah, and then we've got some new images of Mothra. It looks like as well that they're going to be doing another ad. Are you kidding me? I don't know if this is Luminous or if it's YouTube just throw. Oh man, so many ads. And yeah, I don't know. So we have a Mothra as well, and I think that's going to be kind of in the same scale as the NECA Mothra figure. So, you know, maybe a little bit bigger. But yeah, that's all we it seems that's all we have in this video is Mothra and Godzilla. And I'm still looking forward to when they announce the King Ghidorah. That's what I really want to see. So yeah. But yeah, I think it's overall a pretty good looking figure, and I think that they got the head done very well, because I think NECA for some reason with the Godzilla, well, the Godzilla 2019 one wasn't too bad, but still, and even NECA as well. Or did I say? It just feels like SH Monster Arts and NECA didn't always really do the best job with Godzilla, Legendary's Godzilla with the head, but here it seems like Hiya Toys has done a better job. And I think NECA, for example, like the eyes would look slightly off, whereas here it looks like Hiya Toys has done better. So just overall, it looks like it's a better figure. Now we need to see if the quality is any good, but from visually what it looks like it's better. I don't know if posability is any good. I don't know if the quality of the figure is any good. I don't know if it's going to fall apart the second you get your hands on it. But overall, it does look pretty good. They also have a King Kong figure that's coming out. That's not in here, but they have a King Kong figure. And like I mentioned, there's a King Ghidorah figure I really want to get my hands on. So that's actually the one I'm really looking forward to. But so far, I'm fairly impressed with their figures. Again, maybe my one gripe was that the jaw has, like, not on this side, but the other side, the jaw has like a little socket. I don't know if you can see it here. You can see it here pretty well. The head is really well done, but just that little thing there is a bit distracting for me, unfortunately. But the rest of the head looks really good. So pretty impressive. I think the figure will be in the 40 to 50 US dollar range, at least according to the Hiya Toys website. I don't know if actually that's with shipping or not included. So I don't know. I think Hiya Toys is in China, so I don't know if you have to pay for shipping from China or it comes out to a local retailer. But still, so far, that's hopefully cheaper than getting an SH Monster Arts figure. But we'll see as these figures come out, and then Mothra, Kong, and then I believe they're doing King Ghidorah 2019 and Mechagodzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong. So And then maybe even more figures in the future. If these are popular enough, we may start to get other figures. Maybe classic Toho Godzillas, maybe Shin Godzilla, maybe classic monsters. So we'll see what comes out in the future. But it'll be pretty exciting. And it's good that in the wake of like NECA losing the license to Godzilla, that we have another brand that can continue to provide us these Godzilla figures at a better price than SH Monster Arts, you know, without being as expensive and maybe not being as high quality, but being a bit cheaper. That would be fine, because the only other alternative is Playmates, so, or Bandai Movie Monsters. But yeah, we'll see what they come out with next. So that's kind of the main thing with that. And the next thing is that hopefully I don't get copyright striked. I'm not even gonna show this trailer. I'm just gonna show clips, screenshots of it, or I'm just gonna click through. Is the new Godzilla vs. Gigan trailer for, it's a Godzilla vs. Gigan project that they did with Gemstone. Maybe you saw the project that came out, was it 1 or 2 years ago? And this is the sequel, and it's all a project created by Gemstone, which I don't know if it's a group or something, but they make these incredible fan animations, but I don't know if they're fan made or they're in like cooperation with Toho, because this is all approved with Toho, and this is from the official Godzilla channel. And I don't know if it really says much more, but I believe that this will be shown at the official Godzilla November event, I think, because there's a November there's like a Godzilla event, I think, and they're gonna premiere the full version of this there. I believe the Godzilla Toho Instagram posted about this as well, but this is the actual teaser trailer. It's not the full film. I think the full film will premiere at this event. But yeah, it even says trailer, and it features Gigan in the same design as last time. If you've seen, and I think in the story there's like multiple Gigans. This is created by Gemstone, and like I said, I don't know if this is a group of fan animators and they've got like an official deal with Toho, or I don't know how this works, or they work for Toho. There's also, they have another, I think they've revamped Godzilla's design in this, because the last one also had a new Godzilla design, and I think they've revamped it again. So there's a new Godzilla, which he looks very good. It very much looks like a CGI Heisei Godzilla, basically. So for those of you who love that design, this is a CGI version of it, and he's fighting Gigan. And I hope if I just click through, I won't get copyright striked for this. But yeah, and the Gigan design is about the same as last time. Godzilla's beam, and there, Gigan Rex. Yeah, oh, okay, so there's like a new version of Gigan that's like red, and I guess he must be Gigan Rex. Yeah, November 3rd. On November 3rd at the G-Fest and on YouTube. Okay, so there's like I said, there's a G-Fest, and not the G-Fest that we know. It's like an actual G-Fest in Japan. And a long time since we've spoken. YouTuber Julian Bell says he wants to fight you. Who is Julian Bell? Who is that? I'll have to look that up later. Maybe this time we can look into it. Okay. I have no idea who that is. But I'm not sure what I might have done to upset this person. So that's the first I'm hearing. That's the first time I'm hearing about this. So. But yeah, anyway, that's the event that's gonna be in November. So I believe this says Godzilla vs. Gigan, and yeah, it'll be on YouTube, the 3rd of November. Again, I don't know how long it will be up, because if we remember the Godzilla vs. Hedorah short film, if you can call it, they made, it was up for like a day or two. I actually saw it, and then they took it down. So I think Toho is gonna have it up for like a day, and then they're going to take it down. Like, they have this weird way of doing these things. It's a bit of a shame. I don't know how else you're supposed to see it after that. So it's just like they premiere it and then boom, it's gone. And how are you supposed to ever see it again? Like, you know, it's not like a movie that you can go out and buy. Like, it's an officially approved fan animation, I think, so you can never see it again. I don't know, it's just a bit weird the way Toho does things. So I think that, you know, they'll probably do the same thing here, that they post it for a day and then they take it down later. So, you know, it is a bit of a shame because it would be cool to see this on YouTube, but that is how Toho likes to do things. So yeah, November 3rd, hopefully we get to see it and actually check it out, and it's not just taken down after like a day, because I don't even think I saw the last one. But again, I was very lucky and I got to watch the Godzilla vs. Hedra short film, though some people actually downloaded it and just re-uploaded it to YouTube. I think it's still up. You know how the internet is. Anyway, so on to the main thing. Oh, I kind of skipped ahead, but the main news, or obviously the main title of this video, why you're probably here. On the 14th of September, well, this is actually posted on several social media platforms for GigaBash and for Toho as well, or well, the Godzilla Toho Instagram, and they said something is coming, and then they premiered this short clip, which just has like Godzilla's. There isn't much else to it, but they don't even say officially, but Toho has confirmed it that Godzilla is coming to the GigaBash game. So that's kind of the big news, but it's not only just that. Gormaru Island actually has even confirmed that Godzilla will be coming to GigaBash, but apparently he won't be the only Toho kaiju. There's been other invitations that have been sent. Now, again, I don't know how Gormaru Island knows all this. As far as we know, Godzilla's only going to be in it. But Gormaru Island did seem to know about this whole GigaBash crossover. Like, they were already teasing and talking about it like a week or two before. So Gormaru Island must have some kind of resources inside of the developers of GigaBash that they knew that this was coming. So I would honestly take their word for it because they seem to know quite a bit about it, and which is good news, by the way. The fact that we could have other Toho kaiju coming to GigaBash, I think that's super cool. And it's not just Godzilla, but I think that overall, right? So I haven't really played GigaBash at all, but I have, you know, looked into it and reminiscent, or at least it reminds me of like the Pipeworks Godzilla games. So if you don't know, like Godzilla Destroy Monsters Melee, Godzilla Save the Earth, Godzilla Unleashed. It's meant to be kind of like a party game, party brawler, where like, you know, 2 to 4 people can fight together. So I think that Doge Gaming Boy E. Yeah. It made me laugh. I just think of the meme now. E. So it's a lot like those games, in that there's like, you play with 2 other people, 3 other people all together, and it's like a top-down view. Not really top-down, but you know what I mean. But it's still like a brawler. So the main gameplay is you fight other monsters or you fight the army, and you can pick up buildings. From what I have seen, what is pretty nice about the game is it has like an actual, well, somewhat of a story mode, more than those Godzilla games ever did. There's cutscenes and dialogue, but like, and you would say, oh, but Godzilla Unleashed had like cutscenes. Yeah, but this is like on a different level. It's actually like different stories. Apparently there's 4 campaigns for like 4 of the monsters have like a story mode, which is an interesting way to do it. I honestly would have preferred like there's one story mode and you can play as different monsters throughout the story mode. Like War of the Monsters kind of lets you do that. Actually, War of the Monsters lets you pick one monster and then you play as that monster throughout the entire game, and then you can replay it. Well, okay, Destroy Monsters lets you do that too. So again, I think that it's an interesting idea to have like 4 different campaigns for 4 different monsters, but it would have been nice to just have one campaign where you can just pick the monster you want to be. And there's more than 4 monsters, so you can't really play as them in the campaign story mode. So I think that with, you know, that, I mean, I don't know, at least it's something, right? Because I just thought it was a brawler, but I actually looked into it, and GigaBash actually has a story mode. So in terms of that, is really cool that Godzilla's coming to it, and it kind of will work because, like I mentioned, it reminds me a lot of those Pipeworks Godzilla games, and a little bit of also of War of the Monsters combined. It has a similar feel, so Godzilla being in it would be cool, and it would feel pretty familiar. My main thing is that, you know, if you've seen footage of GigaBash in the game, it feels like it's super, well, not super, it's quite cartoony in a sense, and it's very much inspired by really like the classic era of giant monster movies, especially, and stuff like Ultraman as well, stuff from like the 60s and the 70s. And it's just kind of like very over the top and silly, which works. It's a video game, so it's very silly and fun. But how is Godzilla gonna like work in all this? Like, I don't know, because what is the design gonna look like? Are they just gonna take the 3D model of legendary Godzilla and drop him in there? I don't really know. So I guess, like, and this is kind of where I'm just kind of talking at this point, it's not even news. Like, how is that gonna work? And as I mentioned, other Toho kaiju will be coming to the game. It's not just Godzilla. So are they all gonna get like an actual model design for this game? Or are they just gonna take like the existing assets and just plop them in? That's kind of what they did for Operation Monarch and like all the other like PUBG, World of Warships, for example, all the Godzilla vs. Kong stuff. They just kind of take, I think they just take the 3D model from the movie and put it in the game, or something very similar. So it does feel like with GigaBash, they can't really do that because, as you can clearly see, the game is very colorful, very silly. It reminds me almost of like Rampage as well, those games. So like, I'm not really, I think they're just gonna have to do a new Godzilla design, because he's not gonna fit in this game. He's gonna have to be redesigned just for this game. But it will be cool to have him, and it will be cool to have Godzilla in a fighting game, which we've been wanting for years. Especially those of us who didn't really love the Godzilla PS4 game, or couldn't play it because it was on PS4 only. I think it's on PS5 now. Or was it PS3 and PS4 at the time? I think it's come out on PS5 now. But for everyone else who didn't have a PlayStation, they never got to play it. So I feel like, I don't know. It's just good to have Godzilla in a fighting game. And the thing is, like, obviously we'd love to have an actual Godzilla video game. This is what I talk about all the time. This is what a lot of people talk about. But, you know, that's why we have Kaiju Universe. And, you know, I have already talked about the fact that I've already talked about the fact that there is an actual MonsterVerse video game. It's going to be like a 2.5D thing, but there is a video game in the works related to the MonsterVerse. But this is cool. Like, this is cool news, right? Godzilla in a video game these days is so rare. Like, especially something that's not mobile. It's so rare that, you know, and something official that's not like Roblox or mobile, but something official. Even though it's just another crossover. Like, yes, after Operation Monarch, after PUBG, after World of Warships, it's another like crossover thing. Yeah. And again, we don't know if the MonsterVerse video game in the future will have Godzilla in it. We don't know if Toho Games will make like a console video game, console PC video game. But for now, this is what we got. And I think that, look, I get it. Like, you know, they'll tell you video games are expensive to make. And I think a big part of it has to do with the fact that the 2014, the PS4, PS3 Godzilla game didn't do super well, I think, sales-wise. So because of that, they, you know, have been hesitant to make another game, I guess. I don't know. I think that does make sense, right? Like, video games are really expensive to make and produce. But the thing is, you know, we're hungry for something. You know, we want a new game, and it doesn't even need to be like super amazing. Honestly, if it's just a bit better than what came out in 2015 for the PS3, I think fans would just like something, or just like something like Kaiju Universe, just with better graphics and more enhanced gameplay. I think people would love that. So I don't know. I feel like, yes, I know video games are expensive, but like it would be cool if they would put the time and effort to give us a good Godzilla game. So, but it seems like right now, sadly, they just want to keep doing crossovers. That's kind of, they don't want to make an actual game themselves. They just want to license out Godzilla and the other characters to show up in someone else's game. But hopefully, like, it's one of those things where if the game is successful, maybe that will, convince them to start making an actual Godzilla game. Like, for example, Operation Monarch. I don't know how well that did, but I mean, it got me to play Warzone. I think it was like, I don't know, it was a big, like, media story, right? There was a ton of outlets talking about it. It got a lot of people to come back into Call of Duty. Now, maybe the event itself wasn't great, but it was a pretty big thing. Like, Godzilla and Kong were going to be in Call of Duty. And now that Godzilla's coming to GigaBash, if Toho kind of sees that, hey, people want to see Godzilla in video games, maybe, that'll convince them to either make a game or sell the license, or I don't know how you do it, but like, give out the license to a game developer to make a game. And like, for Toho, that doesn't, I mean, they don't really have to make the game. They could just, do a deal with Bandai. I actually kind of hope it's not Bandai, to be fair, because they gave us the PS3 Godzilla game. I hope it's someone else. I would love for NetherRealm. I've always thought this. The NetherRealm that does the Mortal Kombat and the, what's it called? Injustice games. Fantastic fighting games, in my opinion. I would love if they did a Godzilla game. Even if, I'm not a huge, like, fighting game person, but for a Godzilla game made by them, like a Godzilla with the style of Injustice and Mortal Kombat, with those graphics and those storylines and those characters, yes, take my money now. I think that would be great. Or really, what I think many of us would love is something like just an open world kind of game, or something where you get to play as Godzilla, but you get to still fight other people. I think there should still be, that component that you can play with your friends and fight with your friends. Like, and that's what's great about GigaBash, is that you can play with your friends. And I doubt that there's going to be like a story mode, for Godzilla, but I think more than likely it's going to be just Godzilla and some other Toho monsters that you can play as with your friends and online. And I think that, we'll have to see how much it also costs, because I think the base game right now is about like 35 USD, which some people have complained about the price. And then I bet you'll have to pay for Godzilla and the other Toho monsters. And depending on how much that costs, that may or may not, it has to be kind of worth it. I mean, if you told me like Godzilla and maybe like 4 of the monsters was like $10, maybe, it depends. And does Godzilla come with different skins, like basically different suits? That might be worth it. But if it's just like Godzilla is $10, I mean, people are gonna look at you a bit like, just Godzilla by himself? I don't know. For a game that's already like 35 to begin with, that's a bit much. And unfortunately, that's a lot of games these days, that like every little bit of DLC, everything is like 10, 20. If you watch Angry Joe, I'm a big fan of that channel, but if you watch Angry Joe, he'll make fun of like the outrageous prices for like DLC and cosmetics in video games. And honestly, that's true though. And so what worries me is, as well, is like, how much is Godzilla going to cost, or is it free content? Because if it's free content, fantastic. That might even convince me to get the game. So I'll see how the gameplay is. I'll see how much Godzilla costs. And I know that from what I read on Steam of the reviews of the game, people have been complaining that there's not that many people to play with online, and they also feel like the price is a bit steep. So if this comes out, hopefully it will get more people to play the base game, but hopefully it also doesn't cost that much, because that's the problem, is that this game is I mean, like I said, it's already 35 USD, and then on top of this, some kind of DLC for Godzilla. I don't know. Is it really worth it? It has to be one of those things that like gets people to come, but then they actually have to pay for it. You know, unless it's free, unless it's, you know, free content. It's a free DLC, which would be amazing. I think that would be pretty smart. Or maybe even, you know, maybe Godzilla's free, but the other Toho monsters you have to pay for. And I think that might be a good way to do it, because then you could kind of like get people to, okay, you know, if they like playing as Godzilla, say, okay, I'll get the rest and I'll pay $10 for them. And in terms of the monsters, I think would be well in a brawler. I think Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah would be kind of classic. You know, Rodan, Mothra. You know, the big five. Maybe even King Kong. I don't know. That's a whole different licensing story, because there's Kong, there's King Kong. The rights to Kong are really complicated. But I think it would be great to have Kong in a game. It's just that the licensing, the copyright with Kong is such a complicated thing. Maybe Ultraman, maybe Gamera, because obviously GigaBash is so inspired by those franchises. So to have all of them in one fighting game would be amazing. You know, it would be cool if they do kind of like what Mortal Kombat does, like that they have like they get all these cool licenses, like they have Rambo, Alien, Predator, Terminator, and I think also Injustice as well has those. So I think that if GigaBash can get their hands on all these like giant monster licenses, that would be super cool, as long as the DLC isn't super expensive, and it would definitely make people come to play the game. Um, and I think it would be even more amazing, but highly unlikely, if they added in like an actual story mode to feature these monsters. I highly doubt it, um, because I don't think that that's gonna happen. But in terms of like the actual, you know, could they add great gameplay? Yeah, sure. I mean, it could be great content. I think if they're gonna add in Godzilla and other monsters, they should let you have different skins. Because in the game, from what I've seen in GigaBash, you can actually change the skins of the monster you're fighting for. In War of the Monsters, you could as well. So I think for this, what they should do is you can have different skins for Godzilla, and they're basically like the different suits. So you could have like a Showa Godzilla, a Heisei Godzilla, a Millennium Godzilla, a Legendary Godzilla. You know, you could have King Ghidorah, you could have like Showa Ghidorah, Heisei Ghidorah, different eras of Ghidorah. Mechagodzilla, same thing. I think that would be really, really, really cool. I think I'd love to be able to play as the different suits of Godzilla. There's a way like the Pipeworks games made it was like it was just a different character. Like Godzilla and Godzilla 90s were like different characters you play as, and like the original Godzilla, they just treated them as different monsters. Um, but I think it would be better if you could just switch as like different suits, especially here, because I doubt they're gonna make like 5 different Godzillas. Just give me a Godzilla with different skins, and I think that would be super cool. And yeah, I mean that's at least what I think. So I definitely we'll just have to see. And I have no idea when this is coming out at this point. There's no release date, nothing. Just the official announcement, some news from Gomaru Island, which I would trust. They seem to have some pretty good sources, so I would trust them on that. But otherwise, we have no idea when this is coming out. I would imagine probably later on in fall, maybe as a special kind of like, you know, or before Christmas, because knowing them, maybe they want to get this out by Christmas and you can get it as part of like a Christmas deal or something like that. A lot of games come out in fall, so I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the next 2 months we get a lot more information on this. But yeah, I think it's pretty exciting in that, you know, Godzilla's coming to another game, but this is actually like a giant monster game, which makes more sense compared to Godzilla just being in Call of Duty or PUBG, which is nothing really to do with giant monsters. Whereas this is actually a giant monster brawler. You can actually play as Godzilla and other monsters that we know and love, and actually fight with your friends and stuff like that. Like, that's pretty cool. And that's something that we haven't gotten to do in a very, very, very long time. So I think that would be really cool. But another thing is it going to be any good? So yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I think that you know, could be good, maybe not. You know, But so far, from what I've seen, people really enjoy the game. I've seen the gameplay. Like I said, it's pretty good. You know, I personally I really want more something open world and something where you can like more like kaiju universe, where you can like individually fight other monsters or not. I'm not such a huge brawler fan, but from the gameplay I've seen, it's pretty good. I feel like maybe the base game is a little pricey for what you get. I guess I was surprised to know that it actually had quite a full-on story mode. Well, something of a story mode, you know, for four stories for different kaiju. But you know, I doubt they're gonna do any kind of story mode for Godzilla. But I would like to see, you know, just I think for sure different suits, different skins for each monster, and the big five. But Kong showing up would be pretty cool. And you know, maybe they could have the legendary one at least, because it seems like legendary is pretty cool about letting video game developers use Kong. But those are what like big, you know, things like Call of Duty, PUBG, World of Warships. Like GigaBash is like an indie kind of brawler game. I don't know if they're gonna get the rights to the MonsterVerse Kong or not, but we'll have to see. I mean, it's still pretty incredible. It's still pretty incredible that they were able to get Godzilla in the first place. Because if you think about it, this is like an indie game studio. The fact that they were able to, I guess, get a deal with Toho to bring Godzilla into this game, that's pretty impressive. So I think that, you know, there could be more in the future, like maybe Ultraman, maybe Gamera. It depends on if these companies are interested or not. I'm sure there also has to be some kind of deal, like because they're obviously like, what's in it for us to give you the license to our character. So you know, it's all deals that we don't really know about, and that's why we end up getting the characters or not getting the characters. So yeah, but as always for me, I just want more Godzilla in video games. That's really all I want. And yeah, as well, we still have the MonsterVerse game that's coming out sometime in the future as well. We'll have to see how that is. And maybe, you know, with all this news of, you know, as well, like the 70th anniversary of Godzilla is in 2024. We have the MonsterVerse film. But, you know, Toho is going to be doing a lot of stuff for the 70th anniversary. And maybe to celebrate it, we may get a new Godzilla game. I think that would be super smart if they did that for the 70th anniversary. Which is also crazy to think that that is already coming up in the next like year and a half. And it is wild because it feels like 2014 was just a few years ago, but it's almost gonna be 10 years, which is also crazy because that's when the MonsterVerse started as well. So we're almost to 10 years of the MonsterVerse. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff as always. I mean, you know, we're getting something, right? I know many of us really want a new Godzilla game, but I'm still excited. I think that hopefully this leads to more in the future. And in the meantime, you know, we can just keep playing Kaiju Universe. But there, I think, will be more Godzilla games in the future, and hopefully we get an actual official console Godzilla game. That would be amazing, and hopefully it's good as well as that. It should also be good. So, but anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Doge Gaming Boy, who are you talking to? I'm talking to who's ever here. There's always seemed to be somebody here. So, and I'm also talking to the people who come in after the stream. So the lovely people who watch the stream on YouTube afterwards as well. I really appreciate all of you who like and share and subscribe. And yeah, so I think that's really it for the stream. Really just a nice short one, just kind of rambling on as I do. And yeah, you know, we'll keep an eye on this. You know, there's more gameplay if it's good.